So we've got more information. We've got more information on the Jabber, the guy named Jabber, last name Jabber. Jabber was in New Orleans at the Bourbon Street French Quarter. He's the one that had exploded. It's this guy right here. And so Jabber, apparently there's more people involved. There were more people involved. Maybe 3 or 4 more people that were involved. He took his truck and he ran a bunch of people over, but he had an IED on him. And they found IEDs that was nearby. So there is 3 men and 1 woman, or either 2 men and 1 woman who had placed other IDs in the area. Now, these are photos of the victims of the attack in New Orleans. I don't know exactly which one exactly, precisely which one, but I just want to give them, some, just some attention. There was 15 lives, 15 people were killed. 15 people were killed, and over 30 people were injured. And it's an absolute tragedy. It's an absolute disgusting, despicable tragedy. And I want to quickly compare and contrast this whole case to Desire Pool. Now, in September of 2024, so just 3 months ago, you had Shelby Kennedy, a Houston police officer who had ran over Desire Pool. Now, you're not supposed to run people over, right? That's, terrorism. It's also vehicular manslaughter. Even if you were to give Shelby Kennedy the benefit of the doubt, who was the police officer who ran over Desire Pool, she's 41 years of age. Even if it was an accident, that would be negligent manslaughter. That would be negligent homicide. So that would be manslaughter, right? You got first-degree murder, second-degree murder. And then if it's negligent, then it's manslaughter. And then if it's done by vehicle, then that's vehicular manslaughter, assuming that it's an accident. Either vehicular murder or vehicular manslaughter. So if we're being serious about people getting run over and that it's, terrorism and that it's a crime and that it's awful and that it's terrible, why would we allow Shelby Kennedy to get back on the streets? Shelby Kennedy didn't get fired. Shelby Kennedy didn't get arrested. Shelby Kennedy is still driving a police car. That had happened September 19th, 2024. So if running over an American citizen doesn't even get you fired, she was walking with 2 or 3 of her kids, and her kids had jumped out of the way. And there's videotape of this online. She was a mother, she was a daughter, she was a sister, a cousin, a friend. At the very least, Shelby Kennedy should be fired, and at the very most, she should be charged with a crime. You're supposed to be responsible for your crime. Or you're supposed to be responsible for your car. So you're supposed to be able to control your car. And then here's a still shot so we don't actually see, the point of impact. But this is what Shelby Kennedy had saw as she was driving towards these folks. And they won't say if she was driving 35 miles per hour or more. So hell, thank goodness it was just the one woman, right? The children had jumped out of the way, but the mother wasn't able to jump out of the way fast enough. So what happened in New Orleans is dastardly, a foul, evil deed, despicable, disgusting. What a fucking evil piece of shit. What an evil piece of shit. And running over Desire Pool is a despicable, foul deed just as well. You ended her life. And so RIP to Desire Pool. So I got some more information here, and I want to also test this. I got a microphone now, so I don't know. Do I speak directly into the microphone? I'm sure that helps. But do I have to talk directly into the microphone? People are saying, hey, we need better sound out of you. So all right, I'll try to do better sound. I can only work with what I got here. I can only work with what I got here, okay? So they're saying that there was 4 more individuals that had helped Jabber, Jabbar. He was the New Orleans killer. So the New Orleans terrorist, the terrorist attack. And it does seem to be terrorism. And there is a connection between the attack in New Orleans and the attack that happened in Las Vegas. So let's talk about some of these details here. So you have the guy's name is Jabber. I'm just going to say his last name. So Jabber, what did Jabber do? Well, Jabber, he had a 6-figure salary. He also had 2 daughters. He also had 2 marriages. So he was married twice. And he did have an issue when it comes to divorce. And since there's more individuals involved, I had just mentioned that, you know, since he was the only one involved and therefore he had got shot, then therefore justice has been served. But if there's more people involved, well, now you got a manhunt. Now you got to go catch the people. Now, I'm pretty sure we know where Shelby Kennedy is, right? Well, she's in a cop car in Houston, Texas, just kind of cruising around. So Jabber, he was deployed to Afghanistan. He served 8 years in the U.S. Army from 2006 to 2015, and he had an honorable discharge. He was making a six-figure salary. So he's got, you know, he's living high on the hog. He was, at least at some point, was doing really, really well for himself. Now, he had like 2 small misdemeanors, you know, when he was real young, but then he goes to the Army, then he's getting these good jobs. He got married once, and then he got married twice. And so I'm not for sure who the children are from or who got the restraining order. One of the marriages he's going to have some issues with. So there are other IEDs that were found nearby in the French quarters. So he had an IED. They said that was on him. They said there was an icebox in the truck, and there were some more IEDs in the truck with him. The FBI said that he wasn't solely responsible and that there was a video. I'm not sure if the FBI had said this. The FBI just said he wasn't solely responsible, but I've read and seen other news broadcasts that said that there was a video that was out that said that there was either 2 men and 1 woman or 3 men and 1 woman who had placed an IED around the area of the French Quarter in Bourbon Street where the terrorist attack had taken place. Now, Biden had opined about it. So why would Biden speak about it unless they believe that there's something big going on? The mayor, the local people in New Orleans said it was terrorism, and then the FBI was like, hold on, it might not be terrorism. But Luigi Mangione, that's definitely terrorism, right? To me, terrorism is when you attack civilians for a political purpose. That's terrorism. They are soft targets. And in terms of, you know, warfare, civilians are out. You're not supposed to hurt the civilians, right? It's supposed to be the weapons depots and the military people. So there was an IED. There was a video of 3 men or 2 men and 1 woman that were placing IEDs around the area. Now, there is also a series of video recordings. So they said that it was real dark and you couldn't really see his face, but they think maybe from his drive from Houston to New Orleans, he's sitting there just recording all the reasons why he's about to do what he's about to do. And he's got a lot of issues. He's talking about how he's got financial problems. He's talking about how the divorce really had bugged the shit out of him. So it wasn't just the divorce itself, but apparently it was a nasty and mean divorce. And there was a restraining order that was issued against him. And so something had happened, and a divorce had happened. He's got financial problems, and now he's got a restraining order that was issued against him. So now he's going to have problems looking for jobs, right? Now, he was honorably discharged. He was a troop, right? We all love the troops. So he served in Afghanistan, did an honorable job, had a 6-figure salary, was doing well for himself, and then he goes through this divorce, and then he's just spiraling out of control. When he was driving from Houston to New Orleans, or at least in the series of video recordings, and I'm not sure where they found the series of video recordings, it was just found somewhere online, he had suggested that at first he was going to gather all of his family together under the auspices of it being a celebration, and then he was going to kill them all. But then he changed his mind. He was inspired by ISIS, and so now he went to New Orleans to do this terrorist attack. It is a terrorist attack. He attacked a bunch of civilians. And for what was the reason? If you listen to the series of video recordings, I bet you we'll get down to the motive. They're saying that it had to do with ISIS, right? So he just, you know, pissed off at us, just hates us. I think he's got some shit that's happening in his personal life. And maybe he, you know, does think about bigger ideas, bigger causes. Also, this idea was just floated that he was a former MAGA person. He was a former Trump supporter. So there was a series of video recordings. There was a divorce. There was an ex-wife. This had happened at 3:15 a.m. in the morning. And then the connection between the Las Vegas attack. So you had the Tesla. The Tesla was parked in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. And then the Tesla is going to blow the fuck up. And there was a murder. There was killed. There were 7 people injured and 1 person died. There was an occupant. There was somebody in the car, which I don't understand what the hell's going on here. Did the occupant, was he a part of it? Because if they were thinking about doing something, wouldn't you just park in front of it and then just kind of walk away? Because if the occupant was a part of it, were they a total victim? Did they just, get blown up for no damn reason? Were they a suicide bomber? Was they, trying to do... Or was it just a hapless victim? Somebody who just drove a Tesla, happened to park there, and then it was just filled with a bunch of explosives. So it's kind of crazy. January 1st, 2025, you got this terrorist attack that happens in New Orleans that kills 15 people, injures 30. And then you also have another terrorist attack that had happened in Las Vegas. And then, the presidential-elect is supposed to do inauguration here in just 19 days on January 20th. So the symbolism, you can't ignore the symbolism. It's right outside the Trump Hotel. You got a Tesla, right? So that's Elon Musk, the advisor to Donald Trump, Trump Hotel. And then it's the Trump Hotel still. Does Donald get money directly from this hotel, or has he... like Jimmy Carter had to sell his peanut farm? Has he had to sell all of his private businesses? Because I want you to be the damn president. I don't want you to make money off your fucking hotels. I don't want you to make money off your jewelry. I want you to lead America as best as you can lead America. You're just trying to make a fucking buck. You're just trying to profit. Doesn't America pay you $400,000? You get all expenses paid. You can stay wherever you want to stay. You can drive wherever you want to drive in a limo, and you can fly wherever the hell you want to fly. You got 1,000 military bases all across the world. So you can fly anywhere in America, anywhere around the world. What the fuck do you need to make a goddamn buck for? I don't need you making any more fucking money. That's a conflict of interest. Oh, you need to sell some bubble gum? Okay, sell your bubble gum fucking factory. You're going to be the damn president. I don't need you to... chew bubblegum as you give your State of the Union address because that's good product placement? I don't need that shit. I don't need that shit. I need you to do politics as best as you can. And who's going to stand up to the business class? It's got to be the politicians. But if they're a part of the business fucking class, well, hell, they're going to get away with shit. They're going to let everybody else get away with shit. Now, there is a connection between these two things. Not only did it happen on the same day, but the app, Turo, T-U-R-O, the same exact app, an application that you use on your phone. It's a rental application. So he had a truck, Jabber had a truck, and he had rented it from Turo. It was an electric truck, a white truck. He rented it from Turo, and what does Turo do? Well, this is kind of an interesting app here. Instead of renting from these rental places, you can actually rent from private truck owners, private vehicle owners, and you can rent private vehicle owners vehicles, and then they could drive the vehicle wherever they need to drive. So you don't have to rely on there being cars at the fucking Avis or, the car rental places. So that's a connection. How far does the connection go? I don't know. Is it a coincidence? A lot of times there's no such thing as a coincidence. So the fact that Turo was used to rent a Tesla, and then a Tesla blows up outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, and Turo was used to rent a white truck that was used to kill 15 people on Bourbon Street in the French Quarters in New Orleans. I'm not sure what Las Vegas and New Orleans has to do with anything. Maybe because they're party sites. Maybe is that something? They're targeted because that's where the party scene is. Las Vegas is Sin City. Does that have something to do with it? I don't know if they're connected, but there is a connection. So how far do we go? I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to go down into the rabbit hole and do any speculation between the things, but that is interesting. I've never heard of this Turo. And the fact that this Turo was used for one attack in New Orleans and one attack in Las Vegas, and then that there was 3 other people, they had compared it to the Boston Marathon. They said that the Boston Marathon had used, there was 2 brothers. And so they thought it was one person, but then the other person was there too. So it looked like it was just Jabber, just driving through, crowded people. But apparently there was 3 or 4 other people that were planting IEDs in the nearby vicinity. Now, I didn't hear about them blowing up. And I think that I've heard about the authorities detonating them, and then they turned out to be no big deal. But the fact that the President of the United States is weighing in on this, then that means the FBI thinks that there's a bigger, thing that's going on here. And then the President is informing us, so that way we're all on the same page. This is at least what the President, the White House, believes, thinks that happened. Last but not least, I also saw a video where the SWAT team was outside of Jabber's house. They made somebody from Jabber's house get out of the house. Some man, he had to take his shirt off, and he had his hands up, and he had to walk backwards to the SWAT team. There was an armored SWAT vehicle right outside of Jabber's house. So the investigators are out there. The police are doing their job, right? I'd like for them to, immediately tell us what the hell is actually going on, so that way we can. And they canceled that Sugar Bowl, that was at the Superdome. So I think there's a lot of things that's going on here. He was in the Army, honorably discharged, had good jobs, was making money, and then all of a sudden gets a divorce, has financial issues, starts spiraling out of control, and he gets radicalized just, recently? In the last fucking 3 days, in the last month? Because, you don't just get radicalized just out of nowhere, I don't think. It just seems like, he's upright and doing a good job. He's in the military and he's doing good, he's got good 6 figures. That's a fucking chunk of change. Last but not least, I was comparing this to Desire Poole, 41 years old. She got ran over and killed by Shelby Kennedy. So he came from Houston, Texas. So I'm sure it has nothing to do with police brutality, but she was 41, he's 42, and so I'm not for sure what the connection is. Just for me, when I compare and contrast, okay, yeah, we need to have investigations, we need to do the manhunt, we need to stop these people, but we didn't do the same thing for Shelby Kennedy. We didn't even arrest her. We didn't even chastise her. We didn't even fire her. In fact, we gave her a gun and we put her right back in a fucking cop car after she committed vehicular manslaughter. Put her in front of a jury. Put her in front of a jury. You don't even have the fucking balls to goddamn fire her? What the fuck are you motherfuckers doing? You're supposed to serve and protect the people. If you run over one of the people, well then maybe you need to take a year off. You suck at your fucking job. You're supposed to protect and serve the people. You're not supposed to run people over like, oh, you got all the damn power, and so you got the gun, you got a license to kill, and you can just kill innocent people. And terrorism is when you kill civilians for political purpose. And if Luigi Mangione, if that's a terrorist, then how is Shelby Kennedy not a terrorist as well? She killed a Desire Poole, 41 years old. Was it for political reasons? Was it just being nonchalant? Does she think that the cops are above the law and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the laws of Houston and the laws of Texas, and America doesn't apply to her? Does she think that she's above the law? Because when the Desire Poole was dying, Shelby Kennedy is going to turn around. They said, call the ambulance. And she's like, I already did. She was like all shitty to him. As if she didn't just fucking cause a goddamn death. As if she didn't just cause somebody to die. It does seem like an accident. But the guy that was right next to her said, you didn't see, Shelby, whoa, you didn't see them? There was kids that was right next to her. Yeah, she wasn't in a fucking crosswalk, but you're supposed to be responsible for your vehicle. If you rear end another car, even if they stop suddenly in the middle of the road, you got to stop your car. You control your car, and if there's people in the middle of the road, pedestrians have the right of way. You always have to yield to a pedestrian. Now, if there was a big protest and they were just hanging out, they just got off a damn bus. They were crossing the fucking street. The kids are going to jump out of the way. But Desire Poole didn't jump out of the way fast enough. So if we're going to say that plowing into people in New Orleans is a crime, well then definitely Shelby Kennedy plowing into Desire Poole is a crime as well. And then also probably the genocide of 300,000 Palestinian women and children that's probably a crime as well too, right? You can't just pick and choose which ones you think is crimes and which ones you don't think is crimes. Now I'm just going to read some of these lyrics from Aya May. This is from a song called Carmageddon. So I forget how she said it, so I'm just going to, just kind of say it my own way. Man-made virus, watch the millions die. Biggest profit of their lies. Here's inflation, that's your prize. This is Carmageddon. Turn on the news and eat their lies. Kim or Kanye, pick a side. Cancel culture, what a vibe. This is Carmageddon. Corporations swear they never lie. Corporations swear they never lie. Politicians bribe for life. More than wars, genocide. This is Carmageddon. Welcome to the chaos of the times. If you go left and I go right, pray that we make it out alive. This is Carmageddon. This is Carmageddon.